Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Halayim Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakadash. All praises be to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of His Son, and our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai, to the 144,000, double honor and respect to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Coming back at you with another lesson. What is the end state? What is the end state? So I want to go into it. I'm trying to keep this short. So anyway, let's go here. Short video. This video is fair use under the Copyright Act of 1976, Section 107. Let's play the video. Fair use.
Hypersonic phase just started. The hypersonic phase just started. Everything you've watched until now, the carrier group retreating, the THAAD radar destroyed, the Patriot batteries cut in half, the cluster missiles over Tel Aviv, the oil refineries burning across the Gulf, all of that was Iran clearing the path. The path is now clear. Iran has just launched the Fateh hypersonic missile. And if those words don't immediately tell you why, the next 72 hours are the most dangerous in this conflict. Let's break down exactly what that weapon is. Because once you understand the physics, you'll understand why every defense contractor, every Pentagon general, and every Israeli military commander is sitting in an emergency meeting right now with no good options on the table. Hypersonic means Mach 15. 15 times the speed of sound. That's approximately 11,500 miles per hour. A conventional ballistic missile travels at roughly Mach 5 to 7 on its descent. America's Patriot interceptors were engineered to hit those speeds. The THAAD system was built around that threat profile. Every defense algorithm, every intercept calculation, every response protocol in the American missile defense architecture was designed for an incoming threat moving at a speed that hypersonic weapons exceed by a factor of 2 or 3. But speed is only half of why this missile cannot be stopped. The Fateh is maneuverable. It doesn't fly a predictable arc. It changes direction mid-flight, adjusting its path after launch in real time at 11,500 miles per hour. Traditional missile defense works by predicting where an incoming projectile will be in 30 seconds and putting an interceptor in that exact location. The Fateh doesn't stay in the location you predicted. By the time your interceptor arrives at the calculated intercept point, the Fateh is somewhere else entirely. In the range, 1,600 to 1,700 kilometers. From Iran's launch positions, that range covers every American base in the Gulf, every Israeli city, every naval asset in the Arabian Sea, every piece of infrastructure that this entire conflict has been fought over. 100% bypass capability against every American defense system currently deployed in the region. That's not Iranian propaganda. That's the technical specification of what Mach 15 plus maneuverability does to systems engineered for Mach 7. Now here's the strategic picture that makes this launch so significant beyond the raw technical specifications. Iran's campaign had 3 phases. Phase 1, deplete American interceptor stockpiles using cheap weapons. Accomplished. Phase 2, destroy the radar and early warning systems that give those interceptors their targeting data. Accomplished. 25 to 30% of American early warning infrastructure is gone, and half of all Patriot systems in the region are destroyed. Phase 3, once American defenses are blind, depleted, and degraded, deploy the weapons that couldn't have been stopped even at full American defensive capacity. That's today. Phase 3 is today. Israel's Iron Dome is operating at roughly 50% effectiveness. America's ground-based defense systems in the Gulf are at close to 0 effectiveness. The radar systems that would guide interceptors toward incoming threats are offline or destroyed. And into that gap, into the specific window Iran spent weeks methodically creating, the Fateh hypersonic missile is now flying. The 100-foot deep reinforced concrete bunkers that Israeli military leadership retreated to when conventional missile threats became unbearable? Iran has stated clearly those bunkers are now targeted. Hypersonic warheads, with the penetration capability of the weapons now in the air, don't stop at 100 feet of concrete. The engineering math on bunker busting at hypersonic velocities is not favorable to the people inside the bunker. Alongside the Fateh, Iran simultaneously launched the Qadr missile, a weapon in the Shahab 3 category with a 2,000-kilometer range and long-range strike capability designed specifically for maximum destruction against fixed military installations. 2 weapons, different profiles, complementary purposes.
So, what is the end state? I want to talk briefly about that, or what the end state is, and what are the operational impacts of what we're seeing. So this is driving up the cost of crude oil, where we get our gasoline. So we can expect this to speed up the hyperinflation process, famine, hyperinflation, the impacts of that hyperinflation, famine, food shortages, and water shortages. So this is going to stir up that civil war, fighting nation against nation, nationality against nationality, and uproars against the government is what this is leading to. Right now in Cuba, they are attacking government buildings in Cuba. Right now, as we speak, and Trump is saying he could take Cuba, but expect Russia, more than likely China, to use Cuba as a staging base for missile platforms. So crude oil, raw material, is where we can get the finished product, gasoline. So this is why we can expect the price or the cost of gasoline to go up to even double the way this war is going, ultimately leading to doubling the cost at the gas pump. And your air cargo, your train cargo, your shipments from overseas, your ship cargo. Now the insurance on these ships is going up to cover them because of this war and the moves that China's making to annex Taiwan, encircling Taiwan with ships and planes. So this thing is going down. Oil is the biggest cost in gasoline. Crude oil costs 50 to 60%. Refining process that turns the oil into gas. So I really didn't have a thorough knowledge of this, so I looked it up. The distribution points, the pipelines, the trucks, the storage. Right now, Russia is building a pipeline to China, a natural gas pipeline, and the taxes associated with that refinement process. So if the oil prices go up, the gasoline obviously goes up with it. But the biggest thing is the refinement process. Refineries take the crude oil and break it down into multiple products: diesel, gas, jet fuel, and heating oil to keep us warm. So the war is driving up the cost of living tremendously. And it's going to lead to societal and economic breakdowns and collapse. See? Global oil markets driving pricing. If the oil supply drops, wars, cuts, disasters, oil prices rise. That raises the refinery input costs, which raise gas prices at the pump. So, and the other part of that is just pure transportation. The ships, the trains, the planes, everything runs on fuel. And now with the stakes being higher because of the threats from Iran, then we can expect this thing to just continually go up. Transportation costs, refinery outages. Now you have oil refinery and manufacturing facilities being targeted in the Middle East. So everything is pointing towards disaster. Now think about this, the petrodollar is based on the oil manufacturing and refinement process. So the dollar is pretty much getting just shot down, dead in the water, because of the astronomical cost. And the petrodollar is just epic failure. So what is the end state? I'll put this video in the description box, by the way. I'll do that. So the end state is a quick response. So what you have is technology has outpaced the ability to manage it. Let me say that again. Technology has outpaced the ability to manage it, like artificial intelligence, hypersonic missiles, traveling extremely multiple times the rate of sound. So now you have to, it forces your hand to escalate rather than de-escalate. So it's the Most High is moving this thing into a nuclear exchange. That's what's happening. Matter of fact, let's go here. I want to get a good example. See? Let's get a good example here. Let's go to Isaiah 44, verse 7. And who, as I, shall call and shall declare it and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people and the things that are coming and shall come, let them show unto them. See? So he declared these things before they transpired. You don't think the Most High knew that technology would outpace man's ability to manage it? Why? Because he gave that information. He gave the technology. Let's get that. Isaiah 54. See right here. Isaiah 54. Let's go to verse 14. In righteousness thou shalt be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear, and from terror. So the terror is going to come from the instruments of his work, his disaster. These nuclear missiles that are moving at Mach speeds, exponentially faster than the speed of sound. In righteousness thou shalt be established, thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near thee. He's going to preserve his elect through the fire. Behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake, for the elect's sake. So he's going to turn their instruments of war against them. You see? So they're literally creating instruments of their own deaths. Let's get that. We'll come back. Psalm 7. Psalm 7. See right here. Let's go to verse 12. If he turn not, he will whet his sword. He had bent his bow and made it ready. So this is all parabolic talk. The missile launchers are in a state of readiness to be launched at the nuclear level. Even Israel have a missile system plan called a Samson option, where they're going to use nuclear weapons if they feel that they're going to collapse or fall. They're going to take everybody down with them. He have also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the persecutors. See? So they're going to fall by the works of their own hands. Their sword is being turned unto themselves. If I'm not mistaken, Saul turned the sword on himself. Okay? So the Lord uses the works of our adversaries to become weapons or instruments of their own death. Let's get that real quick. Well, Saul gave an order for I think he gave his armorer an order to slay him with the sword. If I'm not mistaken, I'll look it up. I haven't read it in a while. Let's get that real quick. Sword. Yeah, here we go. Okay. 1 Samuel 31. Let's get that real quick. 1 Samuel 31. See, right here. Here we go. 1 Samuel 31, verse 3. And the battle went sore against Saul. And the battle went sore against Saul. And the archers hit him. So nowadays, the archers are these missile silos. You see? So we can draw or we can extrapolate from this account, this biblical account. Now the Lord is going to use the works of the hands of these heathen to take them down, our enemies. And the battle went sore against Saul, and the archers hit him, and he was sore wounded of the archers. And then said Saul unto his armor bearer, Draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through, and abuse me. But his armorer would not, for he was afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell upon it. See? And when his armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he fell likewise upon his sword and died with him. So no weapon formed against the Lord's beloved or elect shall prosper. So Saul intended to kill the beloved of the Most High, King David. So he fell on his sword, literally. So these heathen are getting ready to fall by the instruments of death, a nuclear exchange. Let's close out here. Isaiah 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy, weapons of mass destruction. See? So nowadays, the archers are the launch platforms, the missile silos, and you have road mobile missile transport systems to shoot these missiles. So technology has outpaced man's ability to effectively manage it or keep it under control, along with AI. AI goes on autopilot and just starts shooting every damn where. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. So the Lord created this technology, the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. So this is the works of his plan, his judgments. Remember, he that killeth with the sword shall fall by the sword. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord, Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai. So Malach Tazadak, the king of righteousness, Melchizedek, is going to take the elect up on the wings of the wind, the chariots of the Lord, ultimately a star out of Jacob, a fathership. Let's get this one, close out. Can't make this long. So the beginning of sorrows, then we got to work our way back. But this is leading to what? A digital lockdown. Remember, the petrodollar is dying. So what they need is a digital replacement currency tied to the digital implantable microchip. Why you think they already put into play 6G? So 6G is the platform that they're going to bring this thing into fruition on 6G, the implantable micro device. That's written in the provisions, not making this up. See? Let's go to 2 Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Jacob's trouble. See? Why you think the Lord said, fear not my servant Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, saith the Lord. See? Thy Redeemer, Yahushua, the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Death, sicknesses, plagues, lockdowns, civil wars, food shortages. See, socioeconomic breakdowns, government collapse. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are set. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. America is going to get hit. The government is going to collapse. Society is going to break down. The petrodollar is on life support and is getting ready to flatline. It's done, son. Done. So they have to expedite the digital implantable reset. The microchip, the mark of the beast. So this is what I was getting to earlier. I had to read it like that so that it can make sense. So this is what the Most High is steering the sequence of events towards fulfilling Armageddon and the Third World War with nuclear missiles. He's setting the conditions. 2 Ezra. Remember, we read, he created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. This technology for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. See? These nuclear missile launch platforms and silos. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot. into the ends of the world. See? So America's going to get hit, and it's going to get off some missiles along with its allies. But really, America is the centerpiece of judgment, where great future judgment takes place. And then you're going to have certain population centers get hit as well. See, let's read that again and close out. Let's go to verse 12. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fish thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power. So Yahweh Shai is traveling in the midst of this fire. He's not guiding and directing this nuclear exchange, and coming with his chariot, followed by a host from heaven, which are armies, a host from heaven, armies, angels. The glory of his power. So he's traveling in the greatness of his strength. It's a large entourage of escorts, angels, so-called UFOs. The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep. The waves of it are troubled, and the fish thereof also, before the Lord and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. See? Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again, until they come upon the earth. So the major plagues are going to be fire, famine, food shortages, water shortages, societal breakdown, economic collapse, government shutdown forever, a total failed state. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. See? So there are certain cities on the nuclear strike target list. That's a legitimate list. Russia is going to hit certain places for strategic importance. America's going to get a few shots off. Don't forget they have submarines that are deployed out, that are nuclear capable. And they have nuclear missiles in certain select areas of the world that are classified. So at his presence, so the Lord is going to come when fires are kindled on the earth and the daughter of Babylon is on fire. Hopefully this lesson has been edifying. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala on the Ball. We got next, Lord willing, Barakathum. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.